Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
It's Goddard and Cat Burns with Wasted Youth on Fresh 92.7. You're with Tom and Callum. It's 8:26, and right now we've got a special guest in the studio. When you think of prophets, you probably think of Jesus Christ or Moses. Well, not me. No, I think of a man who acts in our modern day society as a prophet. A prophet of comedy, a prophet of truths. He is the foul-mouthed prophet, the tracksuit wearing, mustache wielding, stand-up comic. It's none other than Daniel Muggleton. Hang on, I love this part. Thank you for letting me hear my favourite part of that song. Daniel Muggleton, how are you, mate?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me. It's very sweet. That's the first personalised jingle I ever got.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, what an intro for you. What an entrance. And what an entrance it is, because you are known for your double tracksuit in red, but you've gone for a bit of a summer fit this time.
Well, I don't know if you've been here recently, mate, but the tracksuit is a horrific choice for this particular Australian summer.
I feel weird. I mean, I feel like if you were wearing anything else but red, it'd be like Slash without his top hat or something, and I'd feel a bit unnatural.
Yeah, similar levels of fame, me and Slash,
Yeah.
you know, very, very recognisable figures from the 80s.
That's it.
That's what we're all about.
So, Dan, how's Adelaide been treating you since you've been here?
Well, it's been good, man, because I was Perth before this.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about the tracksuit in 41 degrees.
Doesn't work.
Look, it's already quite a big look when you add sweat to it, you know? Like, I already look like a pedophile, but when you put sweat in there, then, like, you know, it's like, has he just been for a run? Is there a playground nearby? What happened?
It's game over, isn't it?
It's horrific. It's no good.
Yeah, I mean, did you think it through when you thought, you know what, tracksuits are going to be my thing? Did you think about the summertime?
Absolutely not. I was living in the UK. So I was like, this is acceptable at any point in the UK year, you know?
Did you ever have another iconic look you were trialing at the time apart from the tracksuit? Any other sort of, maybe the Crocs or, I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Like, I think I used to just be like every bland Australian comedian in like a black t-shirt and jeans being like, sorry for mentioning this, but, you know, here's my hot take on Uber.
Sure.
which I have had, and I wanted to bring this up because last time I was on the show was for my tour show last year, and Davo was still on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she was having a go at my Uber Eats bit, saying it wasn't funny. And now she's not here.
Yeah, you got free range now.
And I am.
Yeah. You've taken her spot.
I've taken her spot.
This is the announcement right now on Fresh 92.7.
Yeah,
It's Dan, Tom, and Callum.
Thank you very much.
We're all wearing tracksuits. We've got them imported in.
Yeah, and she's off in Darwin where she belongs. I've colonised her spot on this show, and I'm very thankful for that.
So, Dan, can you tell us about your show? First of all, what's it called?
It's called Blinded by the Whites, which is a horrible...
It just gets worse.
Look, I can't emphasize how bad that choice was. Like, just look, I go with the white thing in the show title. I think it's fun, but man, do people get the wrong idea. Like in Edinburgh, like straight up, I had Nazis come to the show.
Oh,
yeah, I was going to ask, do you get any like sort of coarse characters coming along thinking it's something else?
Yeah, thinking this guy gets it like that. Like genuinely in Edinburgh, like this guy, like he's just like, man, like, you know, he just was clearly a Nazi, like, you know, and he was just like, man, honestly, don't think you went far enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the exact feedback I'm looking for.
I mean,
from Nazis, to be
so,
fair. You
well,
know, if they're like, mate, like, you get it, I'm like, oh no. I need to reevaluate everything.
On your toes if you see a bunch of bald men in the crowd. You're like, this isn't a coincidence.
Absolutely.
So that's a good segue, I guess, to ask, well, what is this show all about?
Look, at this point, it's mostly about bucks parties.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
And how they're garbage. And how men aren't willing to admit that.
But so you're married now. Have you gone through
married.
the bucks party regime?
Dude, we didn't because we had a COVID wedding. Thank God. Thank God, a COVID wedding.
How
10
many
guests maximum, no bucks party. It was a beautiful gift, and I'm grateful for it every day.
How many bucks parties do you think you've been to?
At least 6 in like the last year. Like they just keep stacking up, and they're garbage.
Not a single good one.
Not a single good one because they're planned by straight men, and we don't like activities, so we suck at planning things.
What's the strangest activity you've done on a bucks party?
There is no strange activity. It's
Go-karting.
all the same.
Is it go-karting?
It's always go-karting. Every single time it's go-karting. And it's a child trying to explain to you, like, you ready to have fun? It's like, mate, I drove here. I drive for real. At a speed go-karts are unable to go. And you're trying to tell me this is an adrenaline rush? I've gone through an interest rate rise, mate.
I'm stressed. I'm on breaking point.
You're a 17-year-old child trying to explain safety rules to me. Shut up. Santa's not real, you know?
Hey, Dan, I mean, we want to play a bit of a game with you to wrap things up, right?
Sure.
There's so many different types of shows at the Fringe. And obviously, being a comedian, your first line coming out is a pretty important one. What would be the first line you say if you were to be opening for, say, a circus?
A circus act?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd walk out and I'd be surrounded by those weird circus people.
Yeah.
Very short, deceptively strong.
Yeah.
The kind of people you think you can bully, but you can't. Because they'll throw a smaller lady at you and it'll hurt real bad. So you'll come out and you'll be like, hey, look, usually, you know, I'm a law student who got into stand-up comedy. Now I'm trying to make my living in a tent in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So I'd be considered a bit weird. But given the context of this show, I look like a young liberal by comparison.
Well, I like that you're weaving the comedy into it a little bit still. Can we give you another scenario, Dan?
Absolutely.
So your opening line as you come out to the stage for a show about nude magic.
Show about nude magic.
Nude magicians.
Ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought magicians couldn't get any creepier, this guy thought it'd make his clothes disappear.
Hey, that's a win. I like that.
That's an
very
absolute
good.
win.
Very good, Dan.
Daniel Muggleton, the foul-mouthed prophet, is performing at the Lark in Gluttony and he's here until this Sunday only. Do not miss this incredibly funny man and his show, Blinded by the Whites. Dan, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure, and I'd just like to reiterate, sucked in, Dave.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.